I'll focus my remarks mostly on Labour's proposal for a windfall tax on oil and gas businesses and the harm that I believe it would make not just in the North East Scotland economy, but also that of the wider United Kingdom. I'll also remark on why I believe such a punitive intervention will not only have the opposite of the desired effect, but will actually put at risk the success of this country's energy transition to net zero. I also welcome this government's action on reducing reliance on hydrocarbons and on growing renewable and low-carbon sources of energy, heat and transport. Renewable energy has quadrupled since 2010, and coal is due to be phased out completely by 2024. The energy transition to net zero is already underway, has been for a long time. But we're not there yet. And there is still a demand for oil and gas in particular, to meet our energy, heat and transport needs, and we must do what we can to ensure as much of that demand, albeit declining, comes from our own local sources as possible. Even as we transition to a net zero future, the work of the Climate Change Committee shows around half of the UK's cumulative energy requirements between now and 2050 will be met by oil and gas. Almost 200,000 jobs are supported in the industry, not just in Scotland, but right across the United Kingdom. Jobs that this motion not only puts at risk, but as I have mentioned previously, are a key part of driving forward the energy transition. British companies such as BP and Shell, as well as companies like Total, Equinor and other international energy companies already have access to the skills, expertise, technology and capital to help deliver net zero. The current offshore oil and gas tax system is one of the most globally competitive and progressive regimes through which the sector will pay an additional amount of at least £3 billion over 2 tax years. This is due to the automatic mechanisms that are part of that, the specially designed tax regime by which the oil and gas sector already pays a total of 40%, made up of 30% in corporation tax, with an additional supplementary charge of 10% on top of that, which is already there. Windfall taxes, or a windfall tax such as the one being proposed today, have been tried before, and although intended to increase returns to the Treasury, tax revenues actually fell. And like I said earlier, the oil and gas industry already plays a key part in efforts to deliver the UK's climate change objectives, and was actually one of the first sectors to come out in support of the UK's climate change goals. The industry's own Roadmap 2035 has been underpinned by the groundbreaking North Sea transition deal between the sector and the UK government. They remain committed to providing that reliable, homegrown source of energy for consumers, including in renewable energies such as offshore wind and the much-needed low-carbon technologies such as carbon capture and storage and hydrogen, to name a few. A one-off windfall tax on oil and gas companies would significantly undermine the sector's ability to sustain its investment in the oil and gas industry, put security of supply at risk, make us more dependent on foreign imports of hydrocarbons, which are not just used for fuel, by the way, but they're also used for other manufactured products such as recycled plastics, detergents, even medicines and PPE, and will put thousands of jobs at risk. The main factor against this windfall tax, on which I'd like to end my remarks, alongside the uncertainty it would bring to the industry, its investors and the workers whose families have the very same cost of living worries already discussed in this debate, is the restrictions it would place on the oil and gas industry's vital contribution driving forward the energy transition to net zero.
My honourable friend, the member for Banff and Buchan, who knows oil and gas better than anybody, I think, in this House. Hugely important for his own constituencies, as I saw when I visited in December. And he talked about the punitive intervention of what Labour is proposing. And he also rightly pointed out that renewables have increased by 4 times under this government since the right honourable gentleman was Secretary of State.